call this meeting of the Board of Trustees of the Greenville Independent School District to order. Let the record show that a quorum of board members is present, that this meeting has been duly called, and that notice of the meeting has been posted in accordance with the Texas Open Meetings Act, Texas Government Code, Chapter 551. And we are going to stand for the pledge, and Mike Rockley is going to lead us in the invocation.
Shall we pray? Father, we indeed come to thee tonight, thankful that you give us a land that we can come together as a community and discuss the fate of our children and our community and our facilities. And Lord, we ask you to bless each and every member of this community, the school district, all the teachers, all the administrators, and all the students. We know there's a lot of grief in our world today, Lord, and our hearts still ache for the people down at Uvalde. So Lord, protect us, guide us, and lead us through our lives. Praise in your Son's name. Amen. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, at this time we'll have the public budget and proposed tax hearing.
Good evening. Good evening, President Cruz, Superintendent Booth, and members of the board. Tonight we're going to have our proposed tax rate hearing. So for the 22-23 tax rate proposed for the M&O, the proposed rate is 0.8646, which is a decrease of a little over a penny from last year's adopted rate. Our INS rate will stay the same at almost 24 cents, and we will have a total tax rate of a little over $1.10. And again, that will be a decrease of 1 penny. August 5th, TEA will give us our maximum compressed tax rate. Also, we'll have our certified values in. So in August, we'll come back and adopt the actual tax rate. That's the proposed tax rate. We're going to start with the budget. Do you want the public comment part before we go?
Is there any public comment on the tax rate? Okay, I think you're good, Sherry.
Okay. Okay. Let's go ahead and go through the budget. This is for adopting the 22-23 budget. We'll go through the different budgets. This is the general fund budget. This is the exact budget that you saw last week. There are 0 changes to that budget. So we have our revenues at a little over $52 million and our expenditures at a little over $52 million with $93 left over in the balance. None of the functions or none of the amounts have changed at all from last time. Here is a new budget that we have to adopt, the debt service budget. This is your first time seeing this one. The expenditures are the revenues are about $8.3 million, and then our expenditures are $6.5 million with leftover of $1.8 million. And this is the fund that we use to pay our bond payments every year. Then we have our food service budget that is funded out of Fund 240, the child nutrition budget. Our revenues are projected to increase from last year, so we'll have about $4.2 million. And then our expenditures will balance that at about $4.2 million. So our budget will be balanced for food service. And then we have our capital projects. This budget is not required as part of the adoption, but I'd just like to bring it here for you to look at it. We're projected based on projects to spend about $3.5 million out of the capital projects, which, we have that transportation project going on, and then finishing out paying for LP Water's roof and ACs, and just some little things that are within all the different projects. And then we have our ESSER budget for 22-23. So as a reminder, this will go through 2024. This is the exact thing that I showed you last week. There's been 0 changes to it. Again, all that was added to it was payroll in year 2. There's a slight increase due to the 2% raise. And then also the incentive pay, there's that $1.8 million to pay the employees the payments of $2,000. And then we'll still have a remaining balance of a little over $2 million for you to decide as a board how you'd like to spend that, as long as we have it spent by 2024. Okay. So that is all the budgets for the 22-23. So again, we've had several workshops have been held and different processes to prepare for adopting this budget. So it's recommended that the Greenville ISD board adopt the 22-23 budget.
I have one question about the 22, 23.
Mhm.
How many students are we projecting this budget will, how many students are we?
For ADA, 4,850.
Is that the number we use for the 21-22 budget as well?
Yeah, yes, same one. It's very, very similar. It was just based on with attendance and everything, it was good to keep it about that versus increasing it.
What did our ADA wind up being with this past year?
We were about 4,800. So we were in with range of where we needed to be. And that was due to, we did get help the 1 through the 4th 6 weeks, so that helped us. If we didn't get that help, then we would have had a different situation.
I got a question for you.
Mm-hmm.
With this is the debit service budget, how much is owed on that bond still, the last one?
Oh, we have a little under $70 million in debt right now. I believe it's about $68 million that we owe in total. Because you have your 2020, that refinancing that we did, and then we still owe from like a 2011, a 2014 bond. So there's a few bonds in there that we're still paying on.
Does anybody have any more questions?
Do you have figured in how we're going to pay for extra security next year?
That is something that I'm just kind of started looking at. I really don't have a lot of room in this year's budget for that, but that's something that I'm going to look at the budget that we are adopting and see, is there any extra cuts in there, or once we get all the staff hired based on my salary negotiation plan, see if there was any reductions there, and if there was, then we can fit them in that way. So I'll definitely be looking at that and then give you some different options on what you would want to do with how to pay for that.
We have a recommendation that'll be at the July board meeting, so you will see that.
Okay. And at that point, you'll have how much is left in fund balance?
So the auditors will be here tomorrow and Thursday. They come for their interim audit, and then they'll be coming in September. So it's projected that they did ask to come to the November board meeting, but I asked them if they can come to October, so they're trying to get all the stuff done so that they can get us the numbers by October.
I just had a quick question. Does anybody else have any other questions? I was just curious about the consultants that we use in their budget. How many do we use? And Like, is there a way to bring that in-house? I mean, that's probably a question for you.
You know, we do try to work to bring consulting in-house. For example, we reduced it down by bringing child nutrition. Also, we bought the custodians in-house, so that's going to reduce down that. It just really, every year it's different. It just kind of depends on the needs of how much consulting service that we bring in. But to know exactly how many, I don't have to look.
We'll do an analysis on that though, because it's all channels through finance. So once we get the budget in place, we know who our consultants are. Because Region 10 is another consulting firm that we use that's a pretty substantial dollar amount. So we can present that at the, probably, let's see. If we don't do it in July, we'll do it in August.
We're
Let us
just
get a
gonna
handle on
heads
it.
up or if you
Okay.
want.
Glad.
That's fine.
Yeah. And then that's all for the 22-23, so I could go ahead and look at that and make a motion if you'd like.
I move that we approve the 2022-2023 budget as presented to the board.
Second.
There's a motion by Tish and a second by Bonnie. All those in favor?
We have discussion on it. Do we have to approve it tonight, or can we wait until July when we have the numbers for security and stuff?
You have to approve it, otherwise we're not in compliance, and then the district cannot spend any money, can't pay any payroll, can't pay anything without an approved budget that's been adopted.
Okay, so we have to do it tonight. Okay.
With a motion and a second, all those,
Public comment before you vote.
okay. Is there any public comment?
I have one. I didn't fill out a card. I didn't know I was going to say, have a comment until I saw it. John Kelso, 6005 Horn Drive, 75402. The capital, maybe I missed it. It went pretty quick and I couldn't see it all. The capital improvement project budget. We've got a budget for $3.5 million for capital projects, but no revenue for that. Was that on the other slide? I missed it. Is there revenue that covers that, or will this revenue come from a transfer later in the year? Or how's that going?
We are, those are projects that are already budgeted and it's already revenue that's in that account to use.
We transferred that earlier, correct?
Mhm.
Fund balance?
Yes.
We made a whole deal for capital projects, so we could use that from now on.
Any other public comment?
I have a question for clarification. Are raises coming from ESSER funds or just the 2,000?
So we have the 2,000 that's coming from ESSER. Anyone that's currently ESSER funded, their raise is coming from there, but the other 2% raise has been allocated based on what fund the employees paid from.
Anyone else? All those in favor of the budget?
Aye.
Passes 7-0. So now I move to the open, okay.
Okay, so now we'll go ahead and let's look at 21-22 budget, the general fund. This is some amendments that are required. As you know, we spend by function, so we have to make sure that we stay within the allotted amounts by function. During some of our meetings with the budget preparation, it was determined to have that wish list where we had did some spending, which required me to move around some money from functions there. So that's why this year there's a lot more functions that I'm moving around, and that's just because for the wish list I had to move it in whatever function it fitted correctly, and then I just brought all the amendments at the end. Also, any payroll accruals or different year-end accounting that create some movement. So basically, Function 11 normally holds most of our money, so that's where I took it from, and then I put it in the other functions that needed money to make sure that we stay in compliance with our function spending on the general fund, which it doesn't increase the expenditures. As you can see in that third column, it's all balanced out to zero. It's just moving money from one function to the other. Also, from when we adopted the capital projects in 21-22, we had moved some more money, and we also had our transportation thing that wasn't originally accounted for in there, so we spent a little more than projected. So I need to amend that budget about 1.4 million, because we ended up spending a little over 4 million in the capital projects fund. And that is it. So it's just recommended that you consider and approve the 21-22 amended budget. Anyone have any questions?
I move to approve the Greenville ISD 2021-22 amended budget.
Second.
With a motion by Roger and a second by Mike. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Passes 7-0.
Thank you.
Okay. We're going to move on to open forum and public comment. I don't have any cards, so any questions or comments from individual board members?
I did want to thank the staff, students, and the community who all are involved in the design. It was great to see like-minded ideas, collaborative thought, and working together. So for those that came, spent your evening, thank you very much.
Yeah, that was very fun. I enjoyed that.
I'd like to say something. Same thing, Ms. Bunch. I went to it also. It was good. You ain't gotta get along with people in order to put your differences aside to do it right for the kids. And I've seen a lot of that at that meeting that day. People put their differences aside and try to work together to do what's best for the kids.
Okay, we're going to move on to action discussion items.
We just finished those two. We can just do consent.
Okay. Does anybody have any questions about the consent agenda? Would like anything removed? Can we get a motion?
So moved.
I'll second.
With a motion by Ann and a second by Roger. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Passes 7-0. At this time, we're going to go into closed session. At 5:49. Closed meeting will be held for the purposes authorized by the Texas Open Meetings Act, Texas Government Code Section 551.071, concerning any and all purposes permitted by the Act, including but not limited to the following sections and purposes. 1, Texas Government Code Section 551.071, consultation with the board's attorney on all subjects or matter authorized by law. A, consider legal advice regarding personnel issues. B, consider legal advice regarding any agenda action item. And 2, Texas Government Code Section 551.074, for the purpose of considering the appointment, employment, resignation, evaluation, reassignment, duties, discipline, termination, or dismissal of a public officer or employee. A, closed session pursuant to Section 551.074 of the Texas Government Code to deliberate the appointment, employment, evaluation, reassignment, duties, discipline, or dismissal of a public officer or employee. Okay. Are we going to stay in here or are we going to go back? Okay.
for that.
And I'm going to stay for a second. Yes, sir.
I have two questions. Are you meeting in here?
No, we're going to move to the back.
That was the
We are moving to the.
And the second question, are you coming back into?
Yes, we will
session?
come back. Yes, we will.
What time?
6:34. We're gonna end closed session at 6:34, come back into open session.
At this time, I move that the board approve the evaluation of the superintendent, and I further move that we extend the superintendent's contract to June 30th, 2025 in other terms as discussed in closed session.
Second.
With a motion by Roger and a second by Bonnie, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Passes 7-0.
Thank y'all. It's always a pleasure coming to Greenville. Congratulations on your 50th wedding anniversary.
Thank you.
And it's good to see all my friends here, but I'm headed to the cool.
Be safe.
Do we need to talk about anything else? Okay. Everybody good?
So.
We're adjourned at 6:35.